The African Transformation Movement has signaled its intention to escalate its fight against Parliament's refusal to entertain a fresh impeachment process against President Cyril Ramaphosa, warning that legal action and other constitutional avenues remain firmly on the table. This follows a formal request submitted by the party to National Assembly Speaker Tsoko Didiza, calling for the initial of Section 89 impeachment proceedings. The request was anchored on findings contained in a report by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate (IPID), which examined aspects of the controversial Phala Farm saga. At the heart of the ATM's argument is the claim that the president has a case to answer regarding what it describes as a systematic abuse of state power to conceal a serious crime. According to the IPID report, senior police officials, including the head of the Presidential Protection Unit, Major General Wally Rood, allegedly played a role in deliberately concealing details surrounding the 2020 burglary at the president's private farm. The party contends that such actions not only undermine the rule of law, but may also constitute a violation of the president's oath of office, raising questions of potential criminal liability. It further alleges that state resources were improperly deployed in covert operations aimed at recovering stolen foreign currency, rather than following established legal procedures for reporting and investigating crimes. The Phala scandal itself has remained one of the most politically charged controversies of Ramaphosa's presidency. The incident centers on the theft of a substantial sum of cash estimated at around $580,000 US, though initially alleged to be as high as $4 million, which had reportedly been concealed in furniture at the president's Limpopo game farm. The matter only became public in June 2022 when former intelligence chief Arthur Fraser laid criminal charges against Ramaphosa, accusing him of offenses including money laundering, kidnapping and bribery in connection with the recovery of stolen funds. In the wake of those revelations, the ATM pushed for Parliament to initiate impeachment proceedings under Section 89 of the Constitution, arguing that Ramaphosa had failed to report the crime and had engaged in what it termed the unlawful concealment of cash. The party also accused the president of breaching the parliamentary code of ethics and engaging in a serious misconduct. An independent panel established under Section 89 and chaired by former Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo delivered its findings on November 30, 2022. The panel concluded that there was a prima facie evidence suggesting that Ramaphosa may have violated the Constitution or committed serious misconduct. However, in a decisive move, the ANC-dominated National Assembly voted against adopting the report on December 13, 2022, effectively shutting down the impeachment process. In its latest correspondence dated April 10, 2026, the ATM argued that the IPID report not only corroborates but also materially strengthens the earlier findings of the Ngcobo panel. Despite this, Didiza rejected the party's request, stating that the requirements for instituting a new inquiry under Rule 129A of the National Assembly had not been satisfied. In a strongly worded response, the Speaker dismissed the application as incompetent, maintaining that the matter had already been conclusively dealt with. She emphasized that her decision was guided by the Constitution and the established rules governing parliamentary processes. The ATM, however, remains defiant. Speaking in a television interview following the decision, the party leader, Vuyo Zungula, insisted that the issue is far from settled. He argued that Parliament has a constitutional obligation to act when credible legal opinions indicate that there is a case to answer. Zungula further described previous failures to pursue accountability as irrational and unlawful, vowing that the party will continue to pursue all available mechanisms to hold the executive to account. As long as we are represented in Parliament, we will not abandon this fight. Political analysts have offered varying interpretations of the developments, with some suggesting that the outcome was predictable. Professor Sipho Siyebe noted that Didiza's decision was unlikely to deviate from party interest, given her senior position within the African National Congress. According to Siepe, allowing the impeachment process to proceed would have carried significant political risks. Such a move would be career limiting, adding that the DISA would likely seek to avoid the political fallout experienced by her predecessor Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Siepe also suggested that opposition parties may now turn to the courts, arguing that sufficient evidence exists to justify private legal action. He warned that such a route could have lasting political consequences for the president, and said private prosecution will keep the Phala-Phala scandal alive in the public imagination and continue to cast a shadow over Ramaphosa's presidency. Another political analyst, Ntsikelelo Breakfast, framed the issue in a broader ethical terms, arguing that the president should set the standard for accountability. He suggested that leadership in a constitutional democracy requires not only legal compliance but also a willingness to be transparently scrutinized. As the political and legal battle intensifies, the Phala-Phala saga continues to test the resilience of South Africa's democratic institutions, raising fundamental questions about the accountability, the separation of powers, and the limits of parliamentary oversight, in holding the executive to account.
Whoever is the president, whoever is the minister will be held accountable. It does not care, we don't care whether it takes 10 years, 20 years. However, as long as ATM is there, we'll continue pushing for accountability. In this case, if we look at the IPID report, and it's so concerning how many South Africans are not even looking into what is entailed there. When you read that report, there's a section that speaks about how the members of the Presidential Protection Unit, headed by Rode, interviewed, interrogated, and tortured those suspects, alleged suspects, in Phala-Phala. Now, for South Africans to understand this, it means in the private farm of a president, a sitting president of this country, basic and fundamental human rights were violated, not by thugs, not by organized criminal groups, but by people who are paid by me and you, but by people who are paid by the state to protect the president, acting on the instruction of the president. That is a constitutional crisis. It is a crisis whereby it deserves an inquiry. Hence, we are so perplexed when the speaker is saying what we are trying to introduce has been already ventilated before. What was ventilated before was what was provided by Arthur Fraser. But what we were bringing forward now, it is what is contained in that IPID report. IPID, it is not some Stokvel, it is not some Shebeen group, it is an institution of our country that has got some certain powers, that has done an investigation. Out of that investigation, it has reached conclusions that there was torture in the farm of the president, conclusion that there were people that were bribed in the farm of the president. There were people like your Bejani Chauke, an advisor of the president, undertook an illegal crossing to Namibia. And one can't say it's a coincidence that an advisor to the president, at the same time, the head of the protection unit of the president, they both go on an illegal and unlawful trip to Namibia. It can't be a coincidence.
What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.